Bonjour and welcome back. This is the step-by-step second part of this tutorial. I'm having trouble speaking and I had to redo my project because I deleted it, not on purpose, but I found something out. Basically, what I told you in the first part was complete bullshit because this aim offset, it works just fine, as you can see. Also with only 4 animations, you can still add those in between. The reason why the arm spun around is because I inserted a wrong pose where the arm was twisted in the wrong direction, so it looked like it was like clipping around, but it was just... Be careful when you make your poses. So it can happen that if you like rotate the arm in a other way and you switch between those poses, that it looks nasty, like the arm would break or something. But basically, if you're careful when you create those poses, or you also just have to try it out, this can look fine and dandy. Alright, and also another thing, while I'm here, sometimes, I don't know if you can have this problem or if it's exclusively for my computer, these animations, especially when I close the project and we open it, just the aim offset doesn't seem to work. And then all you have to do is go in here and again set this third person idle animation. I don't know why, it seems to be a bug. Maybe you don't have it, so consider yourself lucky. Now we can finally start with the interesting part. And to do this, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to create a player controller, and I call this custom PC. And you will see why we're going to need this. We don't need it until the end, but basically we cannot access the default player controller because it's written in C++, and I want to keep this blueprint only tutorial, especially because I only know blueprints. So in here we go to the game mode and we change this to the custom PC. Alright. Yet. Maybe I learn C++ one day. And then in here, we're not going to do anything in here just yet. But now we are going to open the third person animation blueprint. And in here, now whenever I start working on a new blueprint, if I know where I'm going with it, there are some things I like to do right on the beginning, and this is like get references to the things I know that I'm going to use a lot. Right in this example, we're only going to use these references once, but if you like do lots of stuff in here, it can be handy if you just have these at your disposal, so you don't have to like get these notes every time. And yeah, not only in the animation blueprint, in every other blueprint as well. If you know where you're going, just think about it, and then you can be like an architect or something like that. And now we are going to get the reference to the third person character. And for this, we can just, of this try get pawn owner, we make a cast to the third person character. Cut this, and in here we can promote this thing to a variable, and it is of type third person character. This is what we need, and we call this third person charif. Alright, and now we also are going to need a reference to the player controller, and we can do this by of our character reference we take the get owner node. Now we could also use the get player controller node, this one, and this will work also in single player and in normal multiplayer, but if you're doing a local multiplayer game, you might have some trouble using this node. So I take this one, it's reliable and it will work always. Hopefully. I never encountered where it didn't work. So now from here, let's cast to our custom player controller we just created. And And now we can also promote this thing to a variable. Call it custom PC ref and hook up this stuff back, compile. By the way, in here you can save on compile, so you can with one click, you can save one click basically. All right, and now we have those two references and we can always use them whenever we want, and we want them right now, especially this one, the player control reference, because if we go from here we get the get mouse position node, and there are also get mouse position platform, viewport, DPI. I tried all of them out. The only one that works for the thing that I'm trying to do here is this one, so this is why we need the player control reference. And then we are getting a node called get viewport size. In here, right click, split the struct pin, and we have to divide the viewport size, no, the mouse position by the viewport size. So in here we're going to divide float with float, and we duplicate this and do it like that, and do it like this, and this is like that, and this goes up here. And because the y values gave out negative values, we also take where is it, minus node, and in here we insert a 1, so basically it's just 1 minus, and this value will be positive. Cool. We can now promote this to variables. Let me call this mouse pos 6, and we call this mouse mouse pos y, mouse pos y, and now we hook this up and this also. Sweet. Now I think we may want to have a button which we can click, so it's like a modus. When we click it, we use the arm, and if we click it again, we just run around. And we are going to create this inside the third-person character. So let me get the shift button, or whichever button pleases your heart, and from here we take a flip flop. By the way, I think you can also press F. No, it gives out something else. Never mind. And in here we are going to create a new boolean, which is mighty fine, and we are going to call this arm modus, and we are setting it. Okay, so when we click, it will set it, and when we click left shift again, this is what a flip-flop does, it always switches, it deactivates. Sweet. Now I will also want that if we are in the arm modus, our mouse, we don't look around, because otherwise like the camera stays in focus. I don't know what if you're going to make this, what you're gonna do with this. Probably you will get your own logic and whatever, but just for these purposes we are going to do it like that. We're gonna cut this and cut that, press P for a branch, and then we hook it up and we get our arm modus. We copy this shmoo, do it over here, and hook this up. So basically we only add a controller input as long as we're not in the arm modus. And we are almost finishing here. We will come back later, but right now we can now use our reference we made here to get the arm modus variable we just created. And of here we also need a branch. Hook this up, go like that. And then finally we create one last variable. We give it a type float, and we call it arm, or just call it alpha for the moment. And we're setting this 2 times. One with the value 1 and one with the value 0. Like that. Compile and save. And we're finished in the event graph. Let us now jump to the anim graph. And if you don't have it up here because you closed it like this and don't know where it is, you can always on the left side click it and you will have it again. Okay. Basically, you can also already work with this. And the question is how you're going to use it. In this case, I wanted to make like the most simple way we can use this aim offset right away. So this is the one I came up with. I don't know if there's even a more simple way, but I am going to use the layered blend per bone node. I love this node absolutely. You can use this to mix animations with only one part of the body. In our case, we are going to use the left arm. So we also get our offset here. And then we will hook this up and we will set this up. So in here, in the layer setup, we are gonna add a new element and we call this upper arm underscore L. We take blend depth 1 and use mesh space rotation. By the way, if you can't remember how to spell, you can click in here and hope that you hit the right bone you're trying to find. Or you can also go to character, bones, bone names, and then, even though it's hard to read, you will see all of them, so you know how exactly they are written. Good. This node is ready to go. And now we just use our variables we created. The mouse position X. Oh, yeah. And I just had to change something in the offset because I made a new one and I forgot to set these names. So now I'm back with this offset and we can insert all these sweet little floats that we created. Okay, position X and Y, and our alpha, oops, it's already there. Pretend it didn't happen. Our alpha we're going to need up here. And as our base pose, we are going to use our beloved third person idle animation. All hail to this animation. And now we are ready to test. So we can run it around normally, and when we press shift, we can use our arm. Yeah, okay. So this should work just fine. And basically we could say we are finished. It's like a waiter. But there is one little catch. If we were to look all the way to the left and press shift, you see his arm is already ready to do something. And if you go all the way to the right and press shift, it's ready to do something else. So this is because the mouse cursor is always moving on the viewport even though we cannot see it. And how are we going to change that? We could use an event tick to always center the mouse cursor, but I like to avoid event ticks as often as I can because they just take up a lot of resources. So if you can find another solution, I would do this. And in our case, we can make it that each time we press the shift button, the mouse cursor gets centered. And to do this, we need to we don't need to, but I advise you to communicate between the third person character blueprint and our player controller. And this is why we need this, because otherwise we couldn't open this with the blueprints. And To communicate, you can do this is a whole different piece of tutorial for itself, but you could either use casting, but in this case I wanted to show you how you can use a blueprint interface. If you don't know what I'm doing, just follow along, but this is a very handy thing. I would learn it anyway, so just search for tutorials on interfaces. They're complicated in the beginning, but they will make sense soon, and love them. They're good things. They are a good thing. And now let's call this one custom PC interface. Yes. And in here we already have a function, and this we call arm mode changes. This is a stupid name, but you can give a better one if you want. And in here we open this full blueprint editor, and now we can implement this interface. Where is it? It's custom PC interface. Hit compile, and now we can use the event arm mode changes. Sweet. But we are not yet calling it anywhere, so we go back to the third person stuff, and in here arm mode changes, we will use this message. And now, oh, we also need a target. We could, like before, also make a reference here, but for the moment I'm just using the get owner node, and this will return the player controller. Okay, and now we can go back to our custom player controller, and in here set the mouse position, and we also need the get view get view port size. And because we are going to center it, we divide this value by 2. Also here. And this and that. All right. And just for demonstration purpose, I'm also going to set show mouse cursor on, so you can see what is happening. And now we press play. When you press shift, you can see the mouse cursor always jumps back to the center, and also the arm is always right in the middle whenever we press shift. Okay, this is it for this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing this. Maybe yes, maybe not, who knows. Let me know what you think. Bye bye.